Again. I see people start to gather. I know there are a lot of dailies right now, so people might join in later. So I say, let's still get it started, and welcome to my talk. As you can see on this huge slide on your screen, the name is Yes, QA Can Help during the discovery phase. But before we actually get into the nitty-gritty and the details, I feel there are some things that you should know. First of all, who am I? My name is Hajnal Daniel. Some of you may know me as Hajnal, some of you may know me as Daniel, but my friends and my colleagues call me Haini. What do I do on a daily basis? I'm a QA and I'm a QA lead. So basically I test and I help coordinating the testing efforts for software products. Why am I talking about the discovery phase? Well, to be honest, this morning I was wondering the same thing myself. Because a couple of months ago, I had the opportunity to join in a new project and a new team. And the first thing that I hear from the project manager is that we're going to start with the discovery phase. And to be honest, I had no idea what that means. So I could do an educated guess of what could that mean. I was able to do a Google search and find out like what is it, and like in Agile, in Waterfall, how it works, what's the goal, what's the scope, and so on and so forth. But after all, my role was of a QA, right? But I had no idea what the phase was supposed to be doing and during this phase, or means for a QA to be part of this phase. So I started Googling some more, and I don't know, I was surprised that I super specific. I didn't find a lot of articles related to the QA's role in this phase. So I have multiple opinions from which I can choose from. And I said, okay, well, I will have to do this más o menos myself. So I started to reach out to people from the community. I started to people who were previously involved in this phase. And one of the advices that I got is to use my previous knowledge, my previous experience from previous projects, and just actually do it and take it one step at a time. And the team will be there to help me, and so on and so forth. Well, it sounds super simple. And the thing is that it actually was that way. So as things started to evolve, it became more and more natural. So you just realize that you know how to act, or how to decide, or how to move forward in the phase. But yeah, what's the extent of my knowledge about this? I can say I'm not an expert. So as I put it there in the description of the talk, this is something that I did just once. And I didn't say it there, but I will tell you now, actually didn't manage to get it to the end, until the end, since the project put on hold midway. So basically I got to do all of the preparations necessary for the discovery phase, have a really good plan for it, but not actually doing it up until the end, just about a month in which I was there. So you will see that you will hear from me a lot of the things that I wish I wish I would have done if I were in the project. But I didn't get to actually do them. But if I were to be involved in a second discovery during my career, which I probably will at some point, I would do those things. So yeah, you should not expect recipe for the discovery phase. You should not expect to hear what step by step what you should do. I will highlight some of the things that I got to do during this. So since I already mentioned the discovery phase term, I think 10 times in the first 5 minutes, what's the discovery phase? Basically, it's a preparation phase. Some of the people from online and from the articles actually prefer to call it the preparation phase, because actually you do prepare for when you start to work. So basically, you do a bunch of research, you start defining the scope of the actual project. So why are you there? What are you trying to do? What are you trying to achieve? And this could be, I don't know, from a new project, which was my case. So create a new solution for someone, for a client, right? And it can also be the improvement of an existing solution. So let's say you have a retail website and you just want to redesign everything, or you want to reinvent yourself, or you have some things you want to improve, some experiences you want to do better, and you want to improve them. So for both of these situations, the discovery phase would apply, and it would make a lot of sense. Because as I said, it's a preparation phase, an official preparation phase. It can also be split in two. So it can be a pre-discovery phase. So for example, in our case, since we are consultants, right? We had a pre-discovery phase. We weren't yet introduced to the client's team, but we already had some information about what's going to happen. So with the team that existed at that particular point, which wasn't complete, to be honest, needed DevOps, some engineers, and so on. With the team that we had at that point, we got all of the, I don't know, we had a couple of slides, we have a couple of recordings from previous meetings from the sales team, and so on. So we had some information of what's going to happen, and what's the next step. So we had an idea of what's coming, right? So yeah, and then it can start the actual discovery phase, the formal one, in which you are introduced to the client, and basically the discovery phase starts. What is also really interesting, and it's this separate phase, it's that it has separate deliverables. So if when you're starting a project, your goal is, right, to deliver a final product, to deliver some documentation, to deliver whatever you discuss with the client that you will deliver, this phase has a separate area of deliverables. So here you will have like the vision of the project. You can have the design, the architecture design. You can have the UX wireframes. You can have the plan, the actual plan. You can have the specs in form of user cases or user stories. You can do risk assessment and mitigation plans. And you go into the actual release plan, estimates, costs, and so on. So this is critical. Basically, it's a critical phase in establishing an accurate timeline and clarify everything that is related to work streams. And also, it's the first chance to for the team basically to get together and to get to know each other. So it's not like day one, here are 20 people that know each other, and please do create and do this and make it work here. It's more of a, we have this period of time in which we can share our opinions, we can share our ideas, we can share our vision. You will have like a bunch of meetings in which you will have the opportunity to meet them and to actually see how they react, how they are talking, how they are communicating. And basically when the actual starts, like the actual delivery starts, you will be more familiar. So it's going to be, the team is going to be more tied together. Okay, but why to care about this discovery phase? Because you actually do this on a day-to-day basis, right? So if you have a new feature, you start to investigate, to research, to figure out, and so on and so forth. But the discovery phase, it's a little bit, you take, I think, 10 more steps back and focuses on the objectives, not the deliverables. So it's not a requirement that you're focusing on, which is clear, it's pretty strict, and you have to have like a super good understanding of it. This particular discovery phase, it's a little bit more just informative and, to be honest, an empowering experience. So basically you see the problem firsthand, you hear about the problem firsthand from the client, and then you get to be part of the solution. So you actually are there when you are trying to discuss and to get ideas and to think about and to brainstorm and so on. So you actually feel as part of the creation and the basically how the solution is born. And then also this kind of defines the whole, what's the idea of success in your project? Because when you're executing and when you're there and creating what you want to create, everyone has an idea of what the, like, when you can say that the project is successful. Everyone has an idea, but it's kind of evolving in time. Now you can define like a high level success plan, and this is what we want to achieve. This is what we want to track. This is how we are going to always know that we are on track, that we are on time. And you can define this like firsthand, which is, I think, a great opportunity, because you have something like the same criterias that all of the team is working towards. And then again, what I feel it's important, and as a QA, I always find myself looking for it when I get an acceptance criteria or a requirement. It's context. So you can say that you want this button to, show sparkles, fireworks when you click on it. But I always try to find, why do you need this? Why would this be valuable to the user? Why do we want to do it this way? How it should actually work under the hood, and so on. And this kind of gives you the whole context from the beginning. So from the birth up until the end, you will know what's happening. You will know the history. You will know who to go back to. You will have a backtrace. So basically context, and I would put this in caps lock, context. Okay, I see in the chat that you are seeing a black Chrome page. So you cannot see, I should have a screen which says why to care about the discovery phase. It should be a white text. Can anyone else confirm that they are having this issue with the slideshows, please? In the chat or... Okay, okay, that's cool. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Cool. Okay, so I was talking about, thank you for confirming. Awesome. We were talking about context, right? And I think I talked too much about context. So as like why you should care and what you will get out of this discovery phase as a QA. So basically, you will be part of the solution, as I said. You will get to know the team. You will get to know about the project setup. You will get to know, and you will be able to set expectations right from the beginning. And you will have this awesome opportunity to do the research and to reach out to other people. And obviously this context thing, in which I'm really highlighting, because I think it brings a lot of value along the way in every little thing that you will, in every little feature that you have. Okay, and now getting really into it, how to participate in the discovery phase. And I mentioned that we only got to do a little bit of this participation. So we mainly did the pre-discovery phase, but we actually got to move ahead a little bit more than expected related to how it should look. I have a little bit of like actual context on this, and I have a little bit of experience on this. But other than that, on how to participate in the discovery, what we did as a team, a plan for how the discovery should play out, right? So we had a list of all of the meetings. We had the list of all of the topics to discuss. We had the list of all of the stakeholders and all of the people that are going to be involved in this particular phase, which in our case it was a 4-week thing. So basically, I got an idea, and I was ready, and I was prepared for what was going to come. So as I said, basically it would be 4 weeks of meetings. We had on a daily basis a lot of meetings. So I think on a weekly basis we had between 10 and 15 meetings, which could be probably from 30 minutes to 1 hour, in which all of the meetings we would have probably the whole team, or the people that were interested in that particular topic, or were affected by that particular topic, or were experts in that particular topic. So basically that's a lot of meetings. So that would be that's I imagine it would go, and I really encourage you to write on the chat if you were part of this discovery phase, if I'm actually right, and that's what was happening. What we prepared to do in that particular 4 weeks are basically a bunch of investigations. So have a lot of materials, I don't know, documents, slides, videos, a bunch of technical stuff, a lot of things, a lot of information from UX, from BAs, from the devs, from the DevOps, and so on. So we would investigate that information and kind of make some assumptions or some educated guesses based on those. So basically read all of this. And then another thing, obviously actively listening and being a part of those meetings. We were planning on participating in most of the meetings. So basically everything related to the technical aspects of the product itself, because we felt that it's important to know the nitty-gritty, the under the hood things. And also it's like a really good opportunity to call out things that maybe would intervene in the testability of the product itself. So you would, even if you don't understand 100% of what the developers are saying, or some technical terms, or how something is working, you will be able to ask about it. You will be able to, I don't know, research it after the meeting if you don't have the actual opportunity to ask it right there. And also if there's something you have experience with, you would be able to call out things and to make sure that they are taking the test of the product consideration while planning the actual architecture of the product. Then again, I feel it would be important to be part of the meetings which are related to the users and everything related to the design. So it would help to, one, get to know the user, and obviously then you are the one that's putting yourself in the shoes of the user. So you would need to know the user and what's for him, her. And related to the design, again, we all know that during QA work, you have a lot of ideas for improvements. You can have a lot of creative ideas related to the user experience, because you're the one going end to end, doing all the flow. You're the user basically in that super early stage of the product. So being there and having that information from the first row, really, really important, and it's very valuable, most of it. And then obviously everything related to DevOps, so everything related to the environments and the setup and so on. And probably there are some engineers who already have experience in this area. I think Marta had a talk about this new hybrid way of doing QAs and QA, and so there are some of you which would be really valuable in those meetings as well. So as I said, most of the meetings should be okay for you to participate, to gather in, and to be a sponge of all of that information. Because you will see that the development team probably going to be focusing on how to implement, right? And trying to understand the technical aspects of the products. The BA and the product team will be super focused on the deliverables, and we're going to be super focused about establishing the timeline, the estimates, and so on. The DevOps is going to be focused on the infrastructure and etc. So basically, QA is critical here, one, to observe and to see basically how everything else ties together. And on the other hand, just to be that person which kind of puts maybe a pause and see, okay, this could break, or this could not work if you're thinking about it this way, or this would not integrate well with the other thing. And you will have basically that high level view, and that view from your seat, maybe 2 meters across the hall. And you will see everything folding basically right there in front of your eyes. And here with the integration points as well, as I mentioned. So it's a really good opportunity maybe to observe some of the issues before they actually happen. Because, with the features, right? So someone is ultra focused on doing something new, right? Add the new button to the page. And everyone is focused on delivering that. But you are there to figure out, okay, how this works with the rest of the app. how this works for the whole user experience. And you can take that quality and that skill that you have in those situations and just put it in the discovery and be that person in those meetings. I already mentioned software testability and how basically you can be a guardian of that principle and of that idea. And when we're testing, we are basically at the before the release and you're in the last sprint and you figure out you cannot test something. This is something that you can basically check before you actually start working on that, and it will bring a lot of value in time, and it will bring a lot of value in time. So basically in the estimates and in your timeline, if you're focusing on doing everything and making and creating everything to be easier to test. Yeah, and this is on the technical side, things that you should be and you could be basically attentive of during these meetings. But on the other hand, I know I mentioned work streams, and I want to go into workflow and the way of doing things. This is also something that is discussed during the discovery phase in a later on stage. How would the team work together? What kind of, I don't know, if they are going to work agile, if they are going to work waterfall, if they are going to work on a 2 or 3 week sprints, if they are going to do 1 release or 2 releases, or I don't know how many releases, or what are the conditions for something to get in the testing phase, or what are the conditions or the expectations for someone to get into production, and so on. So basically the whole workflow, the whole the how you as a team are going to work together, it kind of is discussed in this discovery phase as an initial plan. And it's a really good opportunity for QA to bring out and to make sure that things related or things important for QA during this work phase are brought up, are discussed, are taken into consideration, and kind of adjusted in a way that it fits into the team's goals and into the team's ways of working. So you can be there and talk firsthand about what's important to you, what would make your life easier, what do you need from someone else from your team to happen before you can start your work, or how you can help them during or after or before they start their own work. So this is something that you can bring up firsthand. You can talk about risks group, you can talk about how this could go well or could go wrong. And then based on that high level plan that you as a team make, you can adjust during obviously the delivery phase. And I didn't mention this super clearly, but I think this is applicable to everything that we discussed. Is that this is an initial planning, right? So I think you're mainly talking about the best case scenario, or where do you want to go? So basically your vision, and you're going to adjust it, and you're going to do mini discovery phases during your delivery phase, and you're going to rediscuss or renegotiate or readjust and so on. Okay, so basically as everything, if I would wrap everything up, it would be I think a representation of quality when defining all of these agile processes, or when defining all of these technical requirements. So you will be the representative of that, you would be the guardian of that, and it's something to keep in mind every time you go into the meeting, that you're there to make sure that your upcoming, I don't know, a year, 6 months, or whatever, it's gonna be an easier ride, and you bring up everything that you think that it might be a concern, or everything that you think that it could be an opportunity along the way, that it's known, you set an expectation, everyone in the team is aware of that, everyone is aware of how you are being positioned in terms of quality in that team. And this is the attitude in which I was planning on going on into those meetings, and actively listen and ask questions, and just be there and participate in this phase. we talked about all of these like ideal, I mean, all of these discussions and ideas and information that you basically, you can get during this phase. But as I said, you will also need some deliverables. And in terms of QA, the deliverables would be having a test strategy, having not a plan, a strategy on how you would approach this test. And this strategy could include anything related to the tech stack, right? So what kind of testing you will be performing with what kind of technology, with what kind of tooling, and with what kind of talent, and so on. So basically having this plan prepared, being in those estimates and then the timeline that we were talking about before, having it integrated there. So basically you will need, with the information that you will gather in this meeting, in these meetings, you will need to have a strategy. And how you could have a strategy is like basically the first thing, it's to start early to strategize. So basically what we is in the early stages, in the pre-discovery, we started to analyze of what sort of technology we could use. We started to analyze what sort of tooling that we can use, and we had like a high-level plan. So it's important just to have a high-level plan and then to make it flexible to any kind of changes, because you will see that the client may have some requirements, or you could see along the way some sort of limitation that you might have. So you will have to kind of change things up during the discovery phase and then during the delivery. But you can actually strategize on the high level. So let's say we are, I don't know how many manual QAs, and we are how many, I don't know how many automation engineers. We should focus on this, we should do an automation framework. We know that the application, the client required that it will be built in this or that. It seems that based on that information, the best way of doing, or the best language to use for the automation framework would be this. So basically, you can use your past experience on this. You can use the community for this. This is what we did. We reached out, and it was a really nice experience. Everyone was really helpful. We reached out to other folks from the QA community. They actually shared with us proof of concepts from their application, and we're in a point in which we could reuse some of their work. And I think this is really amazing how the community can help each other in this way. And then, yeah, so reach out, use your own experience, research. We did a bunch of Googling. We did a bunch of courses related to different API testing tools. We discussed a lot about what would be the strategy, like how we would create the test cases. We knew that this would be a project limited in time. So we knew how much we should invest in it based on the fact that it would be a one-time thing that we do. It would not be scalable, right? So it shouldn't be, and we didn't need it to be scalable. So we just needed to deliver a quality thing once, and that was it. So if you would have a long-term project, you would need to think about that aspect too, right? Just create something from the beginning to deliver little bit, and to make sure that you start in a framework or in a way that you just can build that up, that it would be able to absorb more test cases, more technology, more complex situations, more toolings in terms of like integrations, and actually more people into it. So this is something that we needed to take into consideration as well during this strategizing thing. But as I mentioned, we expected a bunch of changes. So that was right, it was clear from the beginning. Have something that you can change up, be super clear about something because you're the expert and you know that it would work only with that. And that's the best way to go because you know that. But other than that, you just need to be prepared to change, to adjust, to be flexible, and also probably forget about some things that you would like to do, because probably, and it can happen that you will not have time, or you will not have maybe the headcount to actually do that. Maybe you would want to do a super cool, mega awesome framework, but you will not have the time for that, or you won't do that. So you need to get your priorities in straight, and based on all of the information that you get during the discovery, you will have that. You will have the priorities in check, and you will know this is important, this is must have, this is should have, this would be super nice to have, and you can start from that. And basically strive towards the best solution, but always have a plan B, and always have a plan C, and probably a plan D that will come up during your work, because you will have to come up with a plan D. But you should be able to put together a test strategy based on the discussions that you have. And the thing is that you will not have to do it alone. You will have the development team, you will have the product, you will have the BAs, you will have the DevOps, and always point out things that are of interest to you, and they will help out to figure out things that you don't understand yet. So yeah, for me personally, just the 1 month that I spent on this was really a really nice opportunity to do that research thing, that exciting, investigative, reaching out work. And it kind of changed my perspective and my way of doing just little feature discovery things as well. I hope you will get the chance to do this and will get the chance to be part of the discovery phase. And if you do and you have questions, just reach out to other people who've been part of this, or reach out to me and I give you my 2 cents, because I actually have just 2 cents about this topic. And maybe brainstorming would help too. I'm not sure if I'm above like the time. Yeah, I think we still have 10 minutes, right? Yeah, we still have 10 minutes. I would like to see some questions related to this topic. I know I had a bunch of them. Let's discuss about them. I would also like to hear some of your own experiences, if you had in this area. And I think you can use the Q&A section of Zoom. Yeah, and I will try to figure out how to check them out. Thank you. While you're thinking about the questions, I'm really surprised my cats didn't come to visit me during this talk. I was a little bit nervous about them, that they're going to just walk in front of my screen. So that was a great success. We have one question. Required collaboration is part of the phase. I'm not sure what you mean about elaboration, but the actual requirements, the technical requirements, or the user stories or the use cases are all discussed during this process. So basically at the end of it, you need to have like a plan. You will need to have some stories in Jira or whatever tool you might use, which have those details. Also, you will have to have the architectural design. You will have to have some wireframes. So basically you will get into the requirement. And then obviously during the agile process, when you're have all of those sprints, you can go in more detail and scrub those stories and get them prepared for. But you should be able to have a list of all of the use cases as a deliverable part of this, because then you will need to estimate it and put together a timeline and an estimation of cost as well. Thank you. I hope I answered your question. If not, feel free to type another one here. Discovery phase is a part of this planning event. Thank you for this question. So discovery phase is basically from the beginning of the project. It's something that it's basically billable. Is the project is the first step that you do. yeah, I could say that it's part of the release planning event. Release could mean probably having multiple releases in multiple sprints as well. So have the discovery phase, start the first sprint, start creating things and so on, and release how many times that you want. Or you could have discovery phase, start doing the things and have a release at the end. But it's the first step. It's basically the preparation. On that, you start the work. You can have your first sprint. Also, I some variations of the discovery phase. They have a sprint of discovery, so it's part of the sprint, and they have a little of discovery there, and then in the second sprint again and again and again. But this is specific to different projects and different setups, and I think it's also based on like what sort of discovery phase duration you will set up and you will need based on the product that you will need to create then. I hope I answered your question. If not, as I said, feel free to type in again. Thank you for another question, Abdul. Design stories taken up in this phase. So as we discussed in this in my case, when we discussed with the UI UX designer about what are the activities that he will need to do during this discovery phase, yes, he had to have a deliverable, the actual clickable wireframes of product. So basically, he needed to have all of requirements for the design, and he needed to go through all of these pages that we needed to create for this particular client. So yes, the design stories are also taken up, and then obviously they are going to be groomed during the upcoming sprints. Groomed, not broomed, sorry. I think there are no more questions. Maybe you will think about what we talked, or maybe you will in the future have projects where you will need to be part of this discovery phase. I encourage you to reach out to me if you would like to talk and brainstorm. It would be also helpful for me since, as I mentioned, this was just one experience that I had, and I probably have more. Yay, we have another one. This phase, thank you for the question. This phase is transfer of info from BA to BA for development team. Thank you again. So BA is actually part of this whole process. So the BA also gets started as soon as the software development team gets started. So basically, everyone will have some roles, right, in this discovery phase. As I said, the development team will have to figure out the specifics of the technical side of the project. We'll have to create the architecture, the technical architecture, and so on. And then the BA will have to figure out all of the user stories, and now we'll have to figure out actually the business aspect of it. So what should happen and how we planned for it to happen is have all of those meetings and all of these separate topics, and us together working as a team, making sure that we put all of this information together to have basically a sense and to create one huge deliverable, one huge plan on what we were gonna try to deliver moving forward. So the BA is an active part of the discovery phase, as the software team is. They are just gonna have specific things to focus on, which then will all be tied together. I hope I answered your question. Thank you again. What is the difference in discovery for an existing customer comparing to a new customer? Thank you, Anna. For existing customer, there can be two situations. It can be about the same product, right? And it can be about a new product, so a new solution. In our case, it was an existing customer, but for a new solution. So obviously we had some knowledge about the client. So from the other teams that have ongoing projects with the particular client, we basically had an upper hand because they already discussed with the client, they already worked with the client, we all had a relationship of trust with the client to do and to create a new solution with a new team. So basically we had probably much more information from the discovery than any other team with, or maybe with the new client you would have, because we have those folks that have experience. So for example, for QA, we reached out to the other team for the same with the same customer, and they helped us figure out we knew that the customer in their system, in their ecosystem, had some requirements in terms of tooling used. So for example, we knew that we couldn't use, for example, Postman for API testing. So we could get a head start on that and start researching other tools to get ready. Comparing to a new customer, you would have everything from this part from scratch too. So you're basically doing this with an existing customer, you have like a bonus help. I hope I answered your question. Another one, I think it's the last one. Is this part of systems engineering cycle? I'm not 100% sure that I know what you're referring to. If you're referring to how the whole system is set up in terms like for the project, in terms of environments, in terms of the architecture, and in terms of everything, the servers and all that. Yes, this is also, I mean, the system engineering, setting the requirements for that is also a topic during the discovery phase. So then you will discuss what you will need, what you will do, how will you set it up for everything to work. I'm not sure if that's what you were asking. If not, please feel free to reach out to me. I would like to discuss more about this and get my information straight on this. You can contact me on Workplace if you're a Softvisioner. If not, please find me on LinkedIn and I would like to talk more about it. But I think that's what yes, this is all the time that we have. New Tech Talks talking, so we will need to close this one. I encourage you to participate to how many you can participate, because I feel like they're a really nice experience for everyone to learn something and to be part of this huge event. And yeah, have fun and thank you for being here. Have a nice week and a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.